Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. The tenuous bonds of friendship and harmony between various denominations of the PC gaming community were torn asunder this week by the most unlikely transgressor, Valve, who finally went public with pricing and reviews for the Steam machine, causing widespread skirmishes to break out on Reddit threads, forum posts, and YouTube comment sections, and presumably IRL too. The main point of contention was the price, starting at $1,050, and whether it was justified by the super small form factor and extra features, as opposed to the decidedly underwhelming base performance, particularly when compared to DIY PC options on the market, even with current RAM and SSD prices. And sure, you could place blame for this whole mess on the AI data center build-out frenzy that has caused those same shortages, as well as, per Valve, their tough decisions when it came to pricing and only shipping Steam machines with one 16GB stick of memory, but we've been blaming AI for the trouble it's caused for like 8 months now, so instead, let's just sort ourselves into new warring factions. We got the OG DIY PC builders, lovers of bang for the buck, the console gamers, of course, with strength in numbers, the diehard Valve fans, we'll call them Steam machinists, GabeN be praised, and the post-PC death cult sect who have given up on personal hardware ownership entirely and seek only to undermine the goodwill of the other three, mostly via shitposts as far as I can tell. So pick a side, pound some haterade, and ignore any relevant subtlety and context on this episode of Tech News.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Thermaltake's Wood Series cases, adding a touch of warmth and style to a variety of existing chassis designs, such as the TR200WS, seen here in the white snow finish, showcasing light-colored wood-textured accents while maintaining the TR200's core features, such as easily removable side and top panels, magnetic dust filters, and support for an optional 6-inch LCD screen. Black cases like the TR300WS are paired with darker maple-inspired accents for a warm and stylish aesthetic, and of course the case still includes a tempered glass side panel, excellent airflow, and support for 360mm radiators for AIO or custom cooling. Thermaltake's WS chassis lineup includes other cases from the View series and more, so for further details click the Thermaltake Wood Series sponsor link in the video description. Valve had very bad timing for their planned Steam machine launch, and they said as much in their news post Monday that went up when the review embargo lifted. RAM and storage pricing trends have changed quickly and significantly, says Valve, a fact that we who keep tabs on PC hardware are all too aware of, and so we had the somewhat predictable series of events that played out this week. Valve added the increased cost of RAM and SSDs to the sticker price, making it $1,050 for the base 512GB model instead of the $750 price target they originally had in mind, if IGN's math is correct. The 2TB model adds $300 to that, though it also comes with a couple extra faceplates, and my guess is that Valve padded those prices a bit to allow for even worse future RAM and SSD price increases, pessimistically speaking, but also, hopefully with the intent to offer big discounts at some point if the shortage situation improves. It's frustrating because we know this isn't really Valve's fault, and the hardware, per reviews, is not inherently bad. There's a good balance between CPU and GPU capabilities for an entry-level system, and the Steam machine's design and proprietary cooling solution are well thought out and are an excellent fit for living room gaming, from the small footprint to the quiet operation to the low power draw to the ease of use features like HDMI CEC that lets you turn on the system and TV with a single press of a controller button. But pricing often overrules all other product features, and so the Steam machine has been called DOA, with insane pricing, and console users are laughing because it's over $1,000, and ruthless tech channels are pointing out that you could easily build a better performing gaming PC for a couple $100s less, and system integrators are setting up alternatives like LDLC's Stim machine for €1,000 with an 8400F and an RX 9060 XT. This has led to even more launch scrutiny, including remonstrations for Valve casually removing all references to the 60 FPS promise made in pre-launch announcements from the Steam machine webpage, although they've also now promised to fully implement HDMI 2.1 in an upcoming patch, which enables 4K 144 and 240Hz output, so maybe they just thought 60 FPS was too much of a lowball metric to advertise. Still, there are undoubtedly Steam machine diehards out there who are signing up to buy them, and with the first units shipping out tomorrow, Monday, I thought I'd circle back to some less gloomy items to round out this story. Like the web-based demo Ray Foss made called Auto Charge Tracker that uses the Steam controller's haptic feedback to jiggle it across your desk and onto its charging puck. works almost every time. There's also the Linux angle, which I'm shoehorning in via this NVIDIA driver update for older Maxwell, Pascal, and Volta GPUs. Could just be a coincidence, but more SteamOS users means more Linux gamers, which means, theoretically, more attention from the likes of NVIDIA for driver support. Or whether you're planning to buy a Steam machine or not, the Steam Summer Sale is on right now, and that's always a great way to buy a bunch of games that you might eventually play one day. Look, you can even play with the animation. Ah! I caught a massive crab. Run away! Oh look, you can cook the crab. Catch a big crab, cook the crab. These are very cute animations. Moving along though, the RAM and storage shortage is of course driven by AI demand, and here I have some cautiously optimistic news. Ignore the Asus part of this story. Apparently Asus only planning to raise prices by 10% instead of 30% should have us all swooning per Tech Radar, but the SK Hynix news is more relevant. As you might know, memory fabricators have been churning out a lot more HBM, or high bandwidth memory recently, which is particularly desirable for AI-focused hardware. That's a big part of the reason there's a shortage, as HBM and consumer DRAM are made in the same fabs, and if they're making HBM wafers, they are not making conventional DRAM. SK Hynix, who makes about 40% of the world's HBM, has recently stated that one of their facilities that makes HBM3E, which was going to be updated to produce HBM4, will instead be outfitted for DDR5. And more DDR5 in the world is unquestionably a good thing. They're doing this because they recognize the plight of the everyday consumer in the current PC hardware landscape and want to offer some relief. I'm sorry, I meant to say money. They're doing it for money, to secure additional profits, because wouldn't you know it, squeezing the entire consumer side of the DRAM market has resulted in price increases that now make DDR5 production way more lucrative. And so now they're pivoting back to the general purpose DRAM market, where supply shortages are severe. And why are those supply shortages so severe, SK Hynix? That's a rhetorical question, and I doubt anyone from SK Hynix is watching, so let's move on. Speaking of the Steam machine launch, wouldn't you know it, AMD has finally brought FSR 4.1 to RX 7000 series GPUs, aka RDNA 3 based GPUs as promised, and that includes the 28 compute unit semi-custom GPU in the Steam machine. Such timing. You just need the Adrenalin 26.2.2 drivers to enable it, but do be forewarned that in terms of raw FPS, RDNA 3 GPUs are still getting better performance with FSR 3.1, at least per some initial benchmarks. Computerbase.de tested 9 games and found that with the 7900 XTX, FSR 4.1 was 11% and 14.5% slower than FSR 3.1 using the quality and performance presets respectively. Not too surprising given that FSR 4.1 was developed specifically for RDNA 4 hardware and has been backported somewhat to work with RDNA 3, but AMD also said their focus was keeping the visual quality comparable, and that is a notable upgrade for the FSR 4 generation. So, tale as old as time with PC gaming, but with FSR 4.1 support, Radeon 7000 series owners can at least choose between more FPS and reduced visual quality, or less FPS and more eye candy. Speaking of eye candy, check out the contents of these tech briefs. Another thing that was supposed to save PC gaming recently was the reintroduction of the Ryzen 5800X 3D, a really good 3D Vcache-enabled CPU for the last-gen AMD AM4 platform that has been unavailable outside of marked-up marketplace reseller listings for quite some time now. AMD announced the AM4 10th anniversary relaunch at Computex, and they even apparently had to do some extra work to make these again with the updated 3D Vcache solutions now available, and at some point this week they went up for sale. It was a bit shaky when that actually happened, and Newegg's listing was going in and out of stock on Thursday and Friday, but it was selling at its $350 or $349 MSRP, and at least sometimes was available by itself without being tied to a combo deal, although I did see it at least once in stock for the combos and unavailable a la carte. As for right now though, it's still there. The other big gaming scandal this week was the rollout of GTA 6 pre-orders Wednesday, with Rockstar setting the price of the base game at $80 and the Ultimate Edition at $100. Fans were not happy about the amount of content being locked behind the $20 upgrade, from vehicles to weapons to full clothing stores and car modification shops, as well as additional activities spread throughout Jason and Lucia's story. That part remains a little bit unclear, but they seem to have gone beyond just a few cosmetic perks, causing many to claim the $100 edition is the regular game, while the $80 version is just a downgrade for poor people. And either way, you don't get a physical game disc, which is a boon to anyone who has a data-capped internet connection, though apparently another edition will be coming in the future that does have physical media. Wonder if that will cost an extra $20 too. Despite those setbacks, pre-orders seem to be humming along, in particular for the PS5, actually at such a rate that console shortages are being predicted, but Malwarebytes is also warning that a crop of scam sites are popping up promising early access to the game. So beware of these and don't get scammed. The game's not out until November 19th, and much later than that for the PC version. Speaking of GTA 6 and console shortages, what timing, Microsoft? Raising Xbox prices right now doesn't seem opportunistic at all. From the Series S to the X, $100 to $150 bumps puts the cheapest current-gen Xbox at $500 and the top-end X model at $800, and that's with 1 terabyte of storage, since the 2 terabyte model is now discontinued. Maybe those Steam machine prices aren't so bad after all. I don't see Sony raising the PS5 prices by $100 to $150 all of a sudden, because they already did that back in April, which was way more tactful in my opinion. Still, if there's anything that can bring all gamers together right now, it's the shared, all-consuming rage at hardware prices. And that rage should of course be directed at Valve. I mean, AI robber barons like Sam Altman and his doppelgangers. Speaking of all-consuming rage, Windows 11. Foisted upon us like so much AI slop, it hasn't been Microsoft's best work, and consumers have pushed back in a variety of ways, including moving to Linux or just refusing to upgrade despite regular annoying prompts and pop-ups. And lo, our misery has borne fruit, for on Thursday, Windows Latest discovered that the language on the Windows Extended Security Updates page now says Windows 10 will be supported until October 12th, 2027, a full year beyond the original October 2026 cutoff that they threatened us with. Of course, this was not announced or anything as far as can be told, but it's still great news that Windows 10 holdouts now have up to an extra year to learn Linux instead. But there you have it, guys. Tech news for the week, and if you liked it, click that like button or leave me a comment down below. While you're down there, all the articles I talked about today are linked in the video's description if you're interested, and you can check out my store at paulshardware.net for high-quality merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, beer sets, and more. Subscribing to my channel is always a good call too. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next week.